Today we're going to be working deeper into our lunges and bringing some additional movements in. So I'd like us to start first of all in a seated position, finding a comfortable position on your cushion or on a block, and just spend a few moments bringing our awareness into the breath, closing your eyes, taking some nice deep connected breaths. Concentrate on noticing how you feel today, noticing the breath, noticing any tension, and being aware of that when we create the movements, bringing in a bit of compassion into the body. Don't overstrain or force any areas that you might be holding injuries or tightness. Bring awareness to the seat of the posture, grounding down into the mat or into the cushion or block. Bring your awareness into the base, the pelvic floor area. Just gently activate as you grow up tall, bringing that alignment all the way up through the crown of the head. Taking some nice, deep, expansive breaths and reconnect back in with the body. Just spending a few moments grounding and trying to soften the body with the breath. Start becoming more in tune with how the body responds to the breath. And at the same time, scanning over the body. Now let's bring our hands into Namaste and taking the arms above the head in a nice, deep, long stretch, separating the arms. Again, keeping your eyes closed in this posture to really bring the awareness into the body. So extending the arms up all the way. Trying to get the arms nice and long and then relaxing those shoulders down. And we're gently going to work into these arms, taking one arm high and dropping the other shoulder down. So we're just activating all the muscles on the side of the body. This is going to help us in our lunges when we bring in a twist. Releasing these intercostal muscles. Now for some people who have shoulder injuries, this might be very tight in that area. If you have shoulder injuries and you want to get relief, bring your hands across the shoulders so you relax that shoulder down and then gently lean into the side. So you're still activating those side muscles, just rocking from side to side. So it's still using the same muscles, but it's not as strong onto the shoulders. Let's do a few more rounds in whichever position works for you today. Just rocking from side to side, creating length through the body, through the side of the body, getting deep into these intercostal muscles. 2 more. Working with the breath and then release. We're going to open into the chest. We're coming into a seated cat-cow position. As we do that, lifting the chin up towards the ceiling, getting a nice deep stretch at the same time, drawing those elbows back, bringing the shoulder blades in together. And as we release, as we draw the navel back into the spine, taking the elbows out to the side and bringing the body down into a curl. And here you notice we're coming back onto the tailbone. And then release. Now let's really work this position with the breath. Breathing in, finding length and opening. And then breathing out as you draw down, draw the navel in. And again, breathing in. Expanding through the body. And releasing down as you draw the navel back into the spine. Taking the shoulders out, elbows out, expanding into the muscles. And then release. Now let's rock over, open your eyes, rock over onto your hands and knees, coming into that cat-cow position. And we're going to work in 3 ways. We're going to have the hands in a traditional position underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the knees. Knees underneath the hips, sorry. Rounding up into your cat position, and then down into the cow, and then rocking back into a child pose. So really activating all the muscles of the back. Now we're going to do this for about 5 breaths. working into how you feel today. Let's take a little bit more individual control of the posture. So as we come in, for example, into your cat position, you might notice more tightness down here into the lower back. So we could rock back a little bit further, get deeper. You might notice one hip's tighter, so you could round a little bit more into that position. As we come down into your cow, try not to collapse down into the shoulders, but find length through the front of the body. Sit bones up towards the ceiling, lifting out through the front of the chest. And then as we come back into the child pose, you might feel more comfortable taking the knees out. And as you come down into the child's pose, relaxing and rocking in from side to side. So let's spend a few rounds of breath just working in the position that works best for you. And just taking the first position, closing your eyes, and working with the breath, feeling into the body, noticing any tightness, softening the breath down, enjoying both the inhale and the exhale. Don't race through the movements, keep them nice and connected with the breath, and work exactly how you want to get the most out of this particular range of movement. You might want to transition in and out with more speed if you want to build a more energetic movement. You might want to hold one for a lot longer. If you want to really connect in with that psoas muscle, push down with the stomach. Enjoying the relaxation and the length of the child pose as the tailbone comes down towards the heels. And let's have two more, whichever position that you want to work deeper into. Feel free to do that. Otherwise, just enjoy the flow of the movement, getting into all these back muscles, into the front of the body. Enjoying the breath. As you come down into child pose, really feel into the sit bones as they separate, lengthening down into that lower back. And one last time. Working deep breath. I'm going to hold, this time I'm going to hold my cat pose a little bit longer and work from side to side. Maybe miss out the cow pose even. Just really get into those side muscles. We need to open into the intercostal muscles when we come into our reverse lunge in a minute. And then coming down into child pose, taking the knees out to the side of the mat, coming all the way down, extending back down into the mat. Take 2 rounds of deep breath, breathing into the back of the body. Breathing and releasing. And coming onto the forearms, lifting the knees up. So the feet come back into alignment with the knees, coming up onto your wrists, and then tucking the toes under and just lifting the knees off the mat. Starting to build a little bit of heat, a bit of strength into the thighs, into the back of the legs, and then rocking back and up into your downward facing dog. And let's do that for one more movement, coming down, lifting the knees off the mat. So they're off for about 2 centimetres off the mat. Nice and strong through the arms, keep some heat into the thighs. And then back and up into your downward facing dog. Excellent. And let's hold this position. Take a few rounds of breath in this position, realigning your feet if you're feeling that they're coming out too far, or that you haven't got enough space. Relaxing the shoulders, breathing and releasing. And then we're going to come into a lunge position. Now I'm going to bring my left leg through so you can see for the video for the alignment. And we've got a nice deep lunge, looking in at that back foot. Remember, we're not in a warrior flow, we're in a lunge. So make sure that back foot is in line with the hip, not the outside of the hip, but the hip joint, both going in the same direction. And then coming up into a lunge, dropping down into that back leg. Now this is building on what we did last week. So let's grow up, finding length and strength through this hip flexor, dropping that knee down, and then bring the hands down into namaste, and then straightening that back leg, get this long line, taking the arms out in front. Now this might be very strong for some people, so if it is, then relax, bringing the hands down to the side and still get that nice long line. So you can still do this, or alternatively, bring the leg in slightly and drop down. So you don't put too much strain onto the knees. Coming back into the original position. Let's hold for one more breath. And breathe it in. We're going to come up into a triangle position. Notice now both legs are straight. My back heel is still off the mat. We're going to come into a warrior position as I bring that back heel down. We're now in a warrior position. Engage the core muscles. Let's just bring a flow into the position to come down into reverse warrior, taking the arm all the way over, giving this nice deep stretch to the side of the body, then release into a side angle pose. Notice that my legs stay stationary and they're not changing. That top arm is coming over the ear, and then bring the body down to an extended side angle pose. Breathing. Now it's up to you how low you have this arm. You can bring the arm all the way down. You can use a block, or you can simply keep the arm resting in here. And then release. Let's keep it nice and light. Rotate that back foot round. So again, we're back into the lunge. Step the body forward. Bring the hands down now. Coming down into a mountain pose. Keep your feet hip distance apart. Engage the core, engage the pelvic floor muscles, closing your eyes and just stabilize the breath before we do the other side. Breathing and releasing. Let's have 3 more deep breaths. Bringing your body back to that start position. So I'm going to change round so I'm facing the camera, but for you, we're now working on the other leg, so we're just taking the other leg back. So let me just realign so it is clear in the alignment. Let's take a nice deep breath, bring our hands into namaste and step this time the left leg back. Again, take a few moments to get your balance, release the arms down, check into that back foot. You're able to realign so it's not too far past the hips. You want to try and keep that hip alignment, because if we come down to a lunge, if the legs are too wide apart from the hip line, then you get more to the groin rather than the hip flexor. We want to be working into the hip flexor. As we bring that knee down, if the leg's too far out, if this foot's too far out this direction, I work more into the groin, and I want us to activate these hip flexors. Bring our hands together. Let's take a nice deep breath, taking the arms out. Let's change a little bit this side, growing up tall, deep into the position. And now we're coming forward into that long position with the arms out in front and back leg straight. Again, if this is too strong, bring your arms down to the side. You're still getting that nice deep stretch through the legs. Let's have 2 more breaths in whichever position you are. And then release as we come up. Bring the arms into your warrior, then into your triangle position. Get a nice strong position here. Legs are released now in this position, and then gently coming down into a side, a warrior position, a triangle position. Bringing the legs down, changing the flow slightly, And then back up into your warrior, check into the legs. Make sure that they don't move as we come into reverse warrior. Get a nice deep stretch into the side. Then down onto that front knee, flow the arm over, making the left and right flow slightly different as we slide down into your extended side angle pose. Again, you can come all the way down, use a block or gently rest the arm here. Breathing and releasing, and then bring the hands together. Let's flow back into the lunge. Take a nice deep breath, soften that knee and bring the leg forward. Now bring the legs round into goddess pose so they're separated. You're in lengthways on the mat. Taking the toes out to the side, bring your hands together and let's just sink down into the position, just getting deeper into the inner thighs, making sure that you're not in this position but more into this position, so you're coming down as though you're sitting down into a chair. And holding the position, now let's ease the breath as we come up, engage the pelvic floor, and down, and again, up, and down. We're going to have 5 of these each time, engaging the pelvic floor up, keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed, and release down, and 2, and down. Let's see if you can get a little lower, 3, engaging the pelvic floor up, and down, and 4, keep the pelvic floor muscles engaged all the way to the top, and then release down, get really low on this last one, up, all the way up. Let's take the arms up as well. Keep those pelvic floor muscles engaged. Come out to the side and release as you walk your feet back in together. Bring your feet into hip distance, and we're going to complete this sequence with a chair pose and then folding over into a bent leg forward bend. The slightly difference is we come into the forward bend, we're going to bring the toes into pigeon toe, so we open deeper up into the sit bones. So first of all, let's come into a chair pose, getting some strength into the body. And here what we want to do, keep the arms where they are, but just gently squatting down. 1, maybe 5, 2, 3, 4, let's get really low on the last one, 5, and then folding over, bringing the stomach and chest down onto the thighs, take the heels out slightly, so we're still on our feet hip distance apart, but the heels are coming out slightly, and then relaxing down into this forward bend. We'll have 4 breaths here, 4 deep breaths. And then relaxing down, coming down onto your bottom with your block or your cushion. We're back into a cross-legged position, and here we're going to complete our practice by gently folding over, releasing into those hips, bringing the body over as far as you feel comfortable, and we're gently just going to breathe in to the posture and release out. Like a gentle pulsing of the breath. We're going to do 5 of these to calm the breath down after the practice. Holding down just that little bit longer. your eyes. Taking some nice deep breaths, rebalancing with the breath, bringing that immediate awareness back into the body. And nice deep smiles with the breath. Feeling the positive energy engulfing the body with each breath. And one more. And gently open your eyes. And now coming down into your Shavasana or going directly into your meditation posture. If you find your hips and knees are tight, I would suggest you come down into Shavasana before your meditation to release the legs, to release the thighs, the hips, and just take a few moments to relax and then follow with your meditation.